Reasons to live and reasons to love. I'm not satisfied 'cause I think too much. Glee with budding trees, you climb with aching knees, but you won't smell the flowers 'cause pollen makes you sneeze. I'm an imposter, I worry you'll figure out. Why say you love me if you are having doubt? Fear, hate, and war machines, input from computer screens. Without you it's cold and lonely, pressed with drugs so I feel cozy. Free of one but full of me. You'll have me, don't look so bleak. Eat my lips below the knees, and I wanna be your only squeeze. Reasons to live and reasons to love. I'm not satisfied 'cause I don't get out enough. Sit in our seats under stars and falling leaves. You pick the spot as long as it's on the beat. I'm not your father, although I fork it out. Why say you hate me if you're not moving out? Fear, hate, and war machines, input from computer screens. Without you it's cold and lonely, suppressed with drugs so I feel cozy. Wake up in familiar rooms, 1,000 lives lived and consumed. Simulation, humiliation, this is now my true fixation.
Hello, my dear friends. Operator Starsky here, and today I'm joined by my friend from Berkeley, Max Zubkov. Max, hello, how are you doing?
Hello, I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm great, thank you so much. So today we gathered to discuss the ancient magic of Ukrainian borscht, how it can be used as a weapon against Russian terrorism, and this is why the topic of today's show is borscht power. My viewers generally know that my channel is dedicated to two topics, like most frequent topics that we discuss is basically like war and food and fighting Kremlin's disinformation. So Max, can you please tell us about yourself and what do you do?
I actually graduated from Berkeley recently with math PhD. So right now I'm a postdoc in Vancouver, and I'm working right now like on math and neural networks and stuff. Yeah, and like my story started like in, as everyone like knows, in February 24th, 2022, which we're going to discuss and stuff. But currently I'm just into academia and really want kind of to continue like kind of explore this area of mathematics, machine learning, and like how it can be applied to real life problems and stuff.
Sounds great. Like literally, I just before preparing this stream, I literally was running between computer and oven, cooking stuff. Not borscht though, but
What you were cooking?
I was cooking actually spaghetti with sausages. And they were not like proper sausages because I got used to eat like pork stuff, but I have to abstain from it for a while. Tell us about the Borsch Club.
Yeah, so it's actually, the story was behind that. It's like in February 24th, it's not like one thing that I read one time, that whenever there was some sort of big event which happened in the world, we always remember what we did. For example, like 9/11 or like something else. We always like remember the exactly like the moment how we find out about this. So I extremely remember like February 24th. It was February 23rd in local time in Berkeley in 2022. I was just sitting in my office, and you will never believe, I will never like watch any like Russian propaganda videos, like Putin, whatever. But that particular night, I was sitting talking to my friends, just chatting about life, and I saw like pop up of YouTube, like, oh, Putin is speaking live right now. So like, okay, let's go and kind of be live there. And I decided like kind of to be alone and just to walk home because I didn't want like it's really hard because the crazy part I just left Ukraine a week before. I have not been in Ukraine for 10 years. I finally like became a U.S. citizen and was able to actually talk to Ukraine, to see my family, friends that winter, and my flight got delayed because I got COVID. So that's why like I stayed for extra, and I just came back. So that's why I had like really like let's say like nostalgia because I just left Ukraine and this all this stuff is happening. So that's why I wanted to be alone. So I was walking home, and as soon as I heard like him saying like special military operation, I knew like they're about to invade. So I just dropped my phone call, and and this is like actually like really hard to remember because you like call your friends and call your family, and in the morning like at 4:50 a.m. you like waking up with the words, "Hey guys, the war just started." So I'm just calling you kind of to make you awake, so you just do something. I don't know, like this is like the least what I can do. And the next day, like 24 hours, I was just running around like San Francisco and like talking to friends. I didn't show up to my work, and I actually took 1 year off from the work and stuff. And we organized in self like protest in Berkeley, and that's where I met all the people who was like one of the founders, the people who actually lead the first step of the Borsch Club, which was like Berkeley with Ukraine we called before. But then we like figure out that people, Americans, sometimes they're like getting tired of hearing about the war all the time. They're getting tired to see all this like really hard images, and they always like about killing, destruction and stuff. And some people they even have no idea what is Ukraine. When we were like walking on the campus and trying kind of ask people to donate, to tell about Ukraine, they were like asking, is this part of Russia and stuff? So that's why the idea was, what can we do? What simple way can we come up? How we can unite people, not only from Ukraine but from the all Eastern Europe, and people who even don't know, like don't are not familiar with Eastern Europe culture, but everyone is familiar with Borscht. So that's why we decided like kind of to transfer this more into not like war focused and only like destruction showing club, but more show and to teach people about Eastern Europe, and not only about Ukraine but all other countries, because we have like how Belarusians, for example, like a struggle, and like how like Russia has like their own like small regions which is also under oppression, like Georgia and stuff. Yeah, so that's why like we did just that's why the borscht became like the symbol that unites people, like, and it's also its food. And at our event what we do, we actually make borscht, so it's not only like the Borsch Club in words, we're also Borsch Club in action.
Oh my God, this is so cool. I gotta tell our viewers a little secret. Actually, the other day I received an email from one of the members of this Borsch Masonic Society, and he said that actually there's this Borsch Club in Berkeley. And I was so excited to learn more about you guys because like it's borscht, come on, everybody wants to know about borscht. But how much are Americans involved, or do you think their opinion about Ukraine, their involvement into supporting Ukraine changed over time?
It came in waves. During the first 6 months, like when I was walking on the streets talking to people, I felt a lot of support and stuff, especially from people who already graduated and let's say like older generation. But unfortunately, as like how mass media goes, that some hot topic just becoming like just everyday thing, and some people lost their interest. So what I have noticed, at least, or I can tell locally in terms of our community, I'm really happy that we were able to educate people and to tell them more about Eastern Europe, Ukraine, so they actually can probably show like a map where Ukraine is. And that's what like one of the events that we're doing. So whenever we do like events, for example, we have like international house. It's the house for all the international students who come to Berkeley to study. And we are going to organize events in this like actual October 23rd, which is called like Ukrainian Hour. So that's why they're going to be there borscht present, vareniki, probably draniki, and other Ukrainian food. And people all over the country from Berkeley, they're going to come, and we're going to have educational, how to say, like booth tables. We're going to have like a small presentation about Ukraine, play Ukrainian music. So in other words, we're going to recreate like the Ukrainian vibe, as we all remember, like there, like locally in Berkeley. So hopefully, like through these small things, we will bring some sort of like happiness, and we will show how Ukrainians are cool and awesome. We will show that Ukrainians are like not a third world country. That's like one of the things we probably want to say. A lot of people thought that in Ukraine we don't have like electronic payments or something else. But how little they know about how it went Ukrainian government in terms of this electric, like monobank, for example, or like I haven't been in this to Ukraine for 10 years, but people and friends told me how super advanced Ukraine is. So that's why like our goal is just overall, not only about Ukraine, but overall to show that Eastern Europe is cool. And what is the best way to show it? Like through our culture.
Absolutely, I agree, and through our borscht, of course, and not only borscht,
Yeah.
by the way. What can you tell us about the people in this club? How would you describe them?
Super passionate people, really vibrant. You know, like when you meet people on the street, sometimes when you talk to a person and you will forget this person next moment or something like this because they wasn't responsive. They like answers was really short and dull. But members of the Borsch Club, they're like everywhere. They're like running around the campus, like putting posters, talking about Ukraine. They're super passionate what they do, and like they're members, like undergraduate and graduate students. They're members of this club who kind of can go and share their passion about life and about that work like through this Borsch Club. So that's why whenever we have the events, it's always like super fun. It's like we always like eat borscht, talk about life. We also remember like about the war and about other issues. So that's why we have some fundraising events, some other stuff. But overall, like people like us, whenever you think about like the person with whom you want to go hang out and just go outside, drink beer, I don't know, like and just be around. This is like the members of the Borsch Club.
Oh, and speaking of fundraisers, do you guys support some specific Ukrainian brigade or Ukrainian civilians?
So how it goes, like as I said, I took 1 year off from in February for 1 year, and what I actually did, I started like being volunteer full time, basically. Um, I from one side was running this local fundraising and just protest and just trying to gather people and create kind of to unite Ukrainian community local on campus. But at the same time, since I just came from Ukraine, and I have like my like friends there. My brother is fighting right now, and I just want to like kind of not I want like directly help and implement this. So that's why I actually like founded like a SUVU, Support Ukraine with Us. Like funny enough, three of my friends who went to the same high school, they were also in the same Bay Area with me during February 22, February 2020, 24. And and I called them and I said, hey guys, like our like small town and our like Ukraine is getting bombed. Let's do something, because I was like so desperate, like being here and not being able to help anyhow. So actually, like my brother called me and said like, oh, of my friend got killed the night. He was one of the patrollers, and he encountered Russian DRG, Russian reconnaissance unit. I forgot exactly the name, and he
Reconnaissance
got
and
shot.
sabotage group, yeah.
Yeah, sabotage group. Yeah, and he got killed, and he left with a wife and a small kid. And one of my friends just donated me like $100. So that's why those first $100 I sent to my brother, told no, like to friends of my brother, and told him like, can you guys go and just to the store and buy whatever they need and bring it? And that's what they did. But my kind of goal was whenever something is done on the ground in Ukraine, since I am here and when I'm collecting the money, I wanted like kind of to show this to people. I want like to have like complete full transparency and to show like the the end, like how actually kind of our help is getting implemented. Who are the people who we're like helping there? And you can go to our Instagram, support Ukraine with us. You can scroll to the first post, and you will see actually over there like that family in the first post that how it's all started. So right now, like I'm meanwhile being a postdoc, I also like running this support Ukraine with us nonprofit. But additional to that, we are have like partnership with other organizations. So for example, what is our goal? We have like two objectives. The first objective, civilians. My personal goal, which I'm doing right now, to help those people who live next to the front line. So that's why we have local volunteers on the ground who just go to the store, buy food, put them in the boxes right away, and send right away. So that's why we don't have any storage units and everything. We like act really fast and really like mobile, and yeah. So we're supporting, and we also can see all this on Instagram. The second thing that we do, which I feel like really important, we support brigades with all the medical supplies that we can. Since we're like officially registered nonprofit, unfortunately we cannot like provide more stuff. So that's why we just either buying stuff in Ukraine or buying stuff here, like United States, setting them to separate units, and we're also getting the kind of all the reports and the feedback. And last, I want just to say, like one of the most important thing which I feel like that kind of drives and gives you motivation. One morning I woke up and one of our volunteers told me that, hey Max, here's the video. It's probably going to be really hard to watch because there's like one of the soldier who we supplied with a tourniquet. And this tourniquet saved his life. And so he got damage into legs. So like saved the leg and also saved the life. And he just wanted to thank us. So that's why he was just sitting there. He was still like a little bit off, but he was written like a small piece of paper, and he just read, and he like thanked us personally. So that's why we were able to provide these medical supplies and kind of save his life. So yeah, so my kind of main motivation with all this Borsch and just being like as a citizen, it's just while you do all your work and do all your stuff, try to spend some your personal time to go and do actual to make an actual impact. So that's why first educate, second get donation, third go and do direct impact. And this is kind of a small like a cycle of life, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is such an incredible feeling when you know that you're even like not extremely big, but help, your support managed to save lives. And when you see the person that is literally saved because of your support, because of people who support your cause, I think it's just an incredible feeling.
This is one of the things. I recently went to the Bay Area and we had like our nonprofit kind of meeting, hangout when we just talk about projects and our next goals. And it's really interesting what Alyssa noticed when you involved with working with people. Somehow people getting discouraged and unmotivated, especially when you do this on the long run, it's really hard. That whatever you do doesn't give such a big impact because, oh, what do? I just edit some videos every day. Oh, what do? I just write some Instagram captions. Oh, what do? I just like, I don't know, like go and put posters and whatever. Or like what do? Like just gives $20. But when you unite all of these like small things, you're able to actually, even late, it's a small impact, but it's still its impact. And even like if everyone, that's kind of one of the goals that we try to communicate with the Borsch Club. One of the things that we did, I want to do is the next February 24th. We contacted around like last year, around 10 bell towers around United States, who at the same time for 2 days played Ukrainian national anthem on U.S. Campuses. It was UT Austin, Cornell, like Berkeley, like San Jose, Stanford, and like it's just such an exciting feeling because like some Ukrainians can just walk around and hear like random like Ukrainian anthem which is getting played. Yeah, so that's why like through this some sort of actions we try and kind of to show that even like this small thing can kind of bring someone's mood. So that's why I want to show those videos to people, as to show, look guys, yes, we all every day do a small thing, but in the end of the day, this is our result. So that's why I feel like it's important to have this kind of back loop of seeing the result of your actions.
What keeps you motivated? Is there any secret recipe?
Uh, to be slightly insane, I think, because whenever I do math and whenever I'm like, yeah, it's really interesting sometimes like talk to people, interact, because especially I always like, I don't know, like thinking about all this like abstract math objects. So that's why you need to have some sort of insanity to it, but also like passion, I think. And it's just like, like we, what I think about everyone, that we all, in some sense, are capable of the same things, but sometimes we just don't have enough opportunities. Sometimes we're just lazy. But if you'll take any of your friend and think when your friend is going to take his life to the full potential, and you can say like, oh my God, this person is going to be incredible. So that's why one things that keeps me motivated, I always was thinking about go and help people over there. But until February 2022, those were just my thoughts. It was like nothing, just thoughts. And I 100% sure that everyone else out there also sometimes think about this. When you go on the street, and especially like in Ukraine, you see all those like grandmas, grandpas who are like counting the coins to get the piece of bread. Don't you have like a sort of inner desire to go and give them like kind of cash so they like don't count this? Or when you see like a homeless person who just like beg for food, do you have like desire so that this person is not going to be homeless? Or when people who like abuse drugs and stuff, we all have this kind of inner desire just to go and help. And the most amazing thing is like when you first, it's like when you want to go and study, like it's always hard to take your ass and put in a chair and study for your exam and do some sort of work. But the most difficult part is the first step. As soon as you do the first step after this, everything is going to go hard, but you will be kind of more motivated. You'll see that you can do it. So that's why what keeps me motivated, I just got this joy of like helping and seeing the impact, how your action can actually change someone's life, even in the small things. Like you cannot imagine like watching those like videos when you wake up in the morning, when like kids are opening the box and they're like smiling and laughing and saying like thank you, because one of the things that we do, we put the names of our like supporters. So some people just, we don't put last name, we just put like, for example, like Grisha, like Max, Alex and stuff. And those people can go and just like see like the direct impact. And so yeah, so that's like things like just see the positive outcome of your action is is awesome. Yeah, so that's kind of what keeps me motivated.
This is amazing. Uh, let's talk a bit about food. What is your personal favorite food besides borscht?
Do you want to guess? What do you
Vareniki?
think? What goes good? Close, salo.
Ah, sal.
This,
Ah.
this is like here. Okay, so a little bit here in Vancouver, we have a lot of Ukrainian restaurants, and actually Ukrainian community is pretty strong. And there is like one Ukrainian restaurant, and my favorite dish there, you come, you order borscht, and they bring you the sala plate, and then bring you like two, three, or four different type of sala. They bring you this like big oven, crunchy bread, borscht like actually how it needs to be made. So it's like it's really like kind of жирный, and like it's really like kind of thick, and you're just sitting there. You order like gorilka also, and you're just sitting there eating borscht, eating sala, listening to Ukrainian music. You go to the restroom, and in the restroom there's a lot of memes. There's like they're like making fun of Putin over there. I'm not going to. You just yeah. There's like some funny pictures, and then you're coming back, and this is like my kind of my like favorite. But okay, so sala one thing. Another thing which involves also sala, like when you go outside hiking and you make like outside fire, and you take kartoshka,
Yeah.
slice it in half, put sala in the middle, also like spices, and then like in the foil, and put around the fire a little bit, and just rotate once in a while. And that's like one of my favorite dishes. Yeah.
Oh my god, I love it so much. Back in Ukraine, I did that a lot, especially like during deployments. But by the way, in Germany, you cannot do that much. In Germany, you cannot just have like wild camping. You cannot just
You
go
cannot?
to it. No, no.
What
It's
about
really
do they have some areas like barbecue areas and stuff or no?
yeah. They have a lot of those areas, but if you cannot like in Ukraine just go to a local forest and have barbecue, and have fun.
Oh wow. Yeah.
Yeah, but at the same time, there's like a lot of places where you can have barbecue, toast, sausages, and stuff. And speaking of things that cannot be toasted, in Berkeley Borsch Club, do you guys like sushi? And are sushi popular in your area generally?
Sushi is like raw fish and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. So actually, yes, we. What is the most popular one as a food wise is Thai food. All there's a lot of like Thai food. Sushi, there are some places. One place which I went is super recommend. There is like Japanese like high quality sushi restaurant when they don't bring you a lot of stuff, but whatever they bring you in a small portion, and you will taste heaven basically. You will like some of the taste which I experienced there. I still remember, and this kind of like forces me to go there and to try it again. Um, but Bay Area is in San Francisco. They have a lot of really good seafood, and sushi more or less popular, but it's not like the vibe of the local place. I don't remember as I was hanging out with friends and people were like, "Oh, hey guys, let's go get sushi," you know. We're more like, "Hey guys, let's go get like Thai food and extra spicy, and we'll see who first will cry."
Oh,
Yeah.
my God. There is Mirko Burtovi in the chat right now. He's my best buddy from Kiev. And 2 days before the full-scale invasion, we were sitting in Kiev with our other friend and like eating shrimps and stuff. But after the full-scale invasion started, sometimes we would go to this very, very special place in Kiev. It's on the left bank around Darnitsa, like. And we had this very, very special restaurant when they would serve the best sushi in Kiev. I checked personally. I went to all kinds of places, and I know exactly that they were good. And it took me some time to find like similarly good sushi here in my town here in Germany because like they're different, but those taste approximately like the ones that we had in Kiev. And speaking of taste, can you explain our viewers what makes Ukrainian borscht special? Like what's so special about it?
Oh, one thing which is, I feel like personally every Ukrainian kid will understand. What makes this personal is like when you wake up early in the morning, you're 6 or 7 year old, and your mom and hear your mom or like your grandma standing on the kitchen and just cooking that borscht for 3 hours, and you see all the process. You see like how they first put this meat, and they like need to boil this meat, put all the spices, then to put this meat out and stuff, and then like we. It's funny now because in our like borscht like group chat and stuff or like admins and blah blah, we sometimes have the argument that like our, as I said, like our members in our community in Borsch is really how to say, like universal. We have like people all around the world there, and sometimes we like as Ukrainians like to argue like borscht is not a soup. Don't call borscht soup. Borscht is borscht. It's like it should be like separated because it's more than just a soup. Yeah, so that's why like the what makes it special. It's a lot of like cultural memory thing which kind of brings it. But also it's just the combination of two best things that you can even imagine in terms of food in Ukraine is borscht and smetana, sour cream. And you just came home, just take borscht, take the sour cream, and then you do this for the next 1 week because if whenever borscht is cooked, you have food for the next 7 days. It just for some miracle reason, yeah, that's why borscht is a food of God. It's like it's not going bad. It can stand there in the fridge in a huge I forgot this how it's called, like the humongous pot, and stuff, and you just keep eating borscht, like breakfast, lunch, dinner, and stuff. Yeah. So all the kind of this memories is just about like the taste, the food that is like your like people who you love was making it for you. And like the worst thing that I'm not proud of, I never actually cooked myself borscht from scratch, from start to finish. I always was there like helping people, but this is probably like one of the like to-do list in my checkbox, just to go and make the borscht.
Oh my god, I want borscht so much. My woman asked me to cook Ukrainian borscht for her, and I told her that I cannot do that because like I don't know how, and she said that I'm not a true Ukrainian. So then
Yes, yes.
I called my mom, and my mom sent me like this huge instruction, this like handbook, you know, like how to cook borscht properly. And she's like, "Don't worry about all those letters, you know, all those sentences. Just like it will only take several hours." So
Several hours, yes.
I'm trying to find enough courage and resources, you know, to do that. But which cuisine, you as a person who lives in the United States for a while, which cuisine do you find similar to Ukrainian? And did you encounter anything like that?
To be honest, actually, probably no. It's a really interesting topic. It's just overall to talk to people who immigrated and who have been like outside for Ukraine for a while, because we all know this conversation that yeah, American food doesn't taste the same, even if you literally will go to take the same ingredients and try to make the same like different dishes, it will not be. It will taste different. It will not be the same and stuff. Like even the food itself is different. And this overall, like, I looked into a lot of the history of United States, like the food industry and why it stays this way. It's super interesting. So if you like just overall want to know more, why is it even like in the first place a difference between like how the food tastes in the United States and outside it? You just try to look into this. But for me personally, what I think, I tried not to look something similar, but I try kind of to not like forget it, but kind of to open the new kind of horizon when I will, instead of like kind of saying bad things about American food, I try to go and find something unique or something cool that I can get in the United States and will not be able to get in Ukraine and some other stuff. In terms of meat, which I can say, which is not similar, but which I really, really like, is steak. That in the United States, there's entire like industry, like the huge science behind to grow those kind of perfect cows and make that perfect steak and stuff. But to be honest, I cannot remember. Like, I might will remember in a couple of minutes, but right now it's no. Like, I have some food which I like more or less, but it's usually like one or two dish from different cuisines. Overall, I just try kind of to create just eating like raw protein and salad, and that's it. But what I do, I go to Ukrainian restaurants, and that's the closest one which I can find. Oh no, I remembered. I remember Georgian food. Okay,
Oh yeah.
Georgian restaurants. Okay, this is like one thing which can kind of, yeah. There's amazing Georgian restaurant in San Francisco, and Hinkali. Oh my gosh, Hachapuri there is just mind blowing. It's just if you want to get the taste of Eastern Europe, go to that place.
Oh my god. Have you ever been to Georgia?
Actually, no, but I want to go. What about you? Have you?
Yeah, I've been to Georgia in 2008 or 2010.
Oh
Like,
wow, 2008 is a tough time.
yeah, I think it was 2010. You're right. Like 2 years after the Russian invasion of Georgia.
Yeah.
And like I have so many cool stories from there. First of all, I went to the Georgian restaurant, like local restaurant in Tbilisi, like the real one, you know. And I ordered, I think 7 or 8 hinkali in a plate, and they brought me those hinkali, and I only managed to eat like 3 or 4 because the rest were like they were just too big. And then I talked to the guy he was the owner of the hotel, and it was like, this old Tbilisi at the top of the Mount Tatsminda in Tbilisi, and those, like narrow streets going down to the river, extremely beautiful. And he had this tiny house, the hotel. And for several days, I was like the only visitor in that hotel. And we talked, we had a lot of beer together, he was a really friendly guy. And I asked, how do you spend time? Like, how do you have fun in Georgia? He's like, well, we're sitting with the guys outside, like on the balcony or like on the rooftop, having hinkali and beer. And I'm like, how much hinkali can you consume? For like, and he's like 10. I'm like, how can you eat 10 hinkali? Like, it's impossible. He's like, no, we got used to it. And I'm like, but I couldn't do that. He's like, well, because you need to train. You need to practice.
Their body, digesting them from inside while they're eating. So that's why by the time it's gonna reach the stomach, it's gonna be like, it's going to disappear.
Yeah, but at the same time, one thing that I find absolutely amazing about Georgian people is their friendliness, their openness, because that very owner of the hotel, he took me and the friends to a different place because he learned that I like history, I like going to different museums, and he took us to like a different town where they had like one of the oldest churches in the whole Georgia. And then he bought us like local dishes and stuff, and we ate them. And he paid for everything. I think he spent on us more than I gave him for the hotel. And this is their way of thinking. They don't think about money. They think about being good, like hosts. They're thinking about impressing their guests. And so you would never think bad about them, and you would never think about going somewhere else because you have friends there. There was this crazy story. I'm in the Tbilisi in the restaurant outside, and we had something like either wine or shashlik or whatever. And then there's this man going to the bartend, and then he leaves. And as soon as he leaves, the guys behind us, the locals, they start fighting, they start screaming. I'm like, what the hell is going on? So I ask like the bar woman, and she says, everything's fine, don't worry, it's just those men wanted to pay for you, but that man paid for you first and ran away. That's why they're mad. So
Okay.
I spent the rest of the day literally drinking with them. I woke up in unknown place. I got fed with like pancakes in the morning. It was insane, but it's something you can never experience in any other place, just in Georgia. So you gotta go there definitely.
And I'm truly amazed for one simple thing, because I'm hearing this from the Ukrainian, who actually tells probably the same story but about Ukraine to like our like Western friends. And but right now you're telling me about this story about Georgia, so it's like it's really cool. So yeah, one thing which is for me is interesting, while you were like in Georgia and you tried Georgian food there, and like I have been in Kiev to a couple of Georgian restaurants in Odessa and stuff. So if you put this on a scale, how like food in Ukraine versus food in the United States, and Georgian food in Ukraine versus the Georgian food in Georgia, is like a huge difference. So like,
Not really. I wanted to try shashlik, of course. Generally, I'm not the one who tries like a lot of new stuff. I'm the one who like I know that this stuff tastes well. That's why I will only eat it, because I don't want to get disappointed
same,
or
yeah.
waste my time. So I went to Tbilisi, to like the very very downtown, and I tried their shashlik there. I tried hachapuri. And hinkali, and they don't taste much differently from what we have in Kyiv, for example. They taste probably the same. The only difference is, I think, maybe like the sauce, like because they use My God, how is it called? The sauce. Anyways, I forgot. Yeah, but generally it's the same. Generally it's the same. I brought my American friend Andrew Mercado from is he from Minnesota? I brought him to the Georgian restaurant in Kiev, not far from the Andriivsky Rubizh. And he was so much amazed because, like Georgian shashlik, it has this concentrated taste. Like there's always a lot of onion. And he was so impressed. He's like, oh my God, this tastes so intensively, so rich. So basically it's the same in Georgia, in Ukraine. If there is a proper cooker, he or she knows what to do. We were in Kramatorsk last year. We were on a deployment. We were going, I believe, to like Chasiv Yar, and we were extremely hungry with my buddy, my colleague, the press officer, Max. And we stopped in Kramatorsk, like it's in Donbass. We stopped in Kramatorsk in a village, and there was this tiny cafeteria besides the road. So we stopped there and we're like, do you have shashlik? They're like, yeah, sure. And they speak perfect Ukrainian language, by the way, which I was impressed. And they cooked us shashlik fast and it was extremely tasty. I was literally sitting there enjoying because, it's summer, there's cars like literally passing, like trucks, other cars. And guys having like coffee there from the military, and we were sitting there literally enjoying the tastiest shashlik I had probably in months. So it only depends on the talent,
Yeah. It's also, it reminds me when I was a kid, we were like driving from Dnipro to Odessa by car, and there's like one small like vuzel, kind of like the like station where like all the drivers stop, like Bashtanka, and they're like, you can think about this like, it's like kind of not like really like the restaurant place. It's just people like standing there and just selling food. But those food like meat, like salads, just was one of the most delicious thing ever. That's why like just stopping by, like there are some small villages and getting on this like local food without like any chemicals and stuff. You just like, really miss those times. Like it was really nice.
Oh my God, so many memories. As a person who generally recruits American people into loving Ukraine, not sure how to call it. Do you think Americans are much different from Ukrainians, or we're similar?
So I can tell you this from my personal perspective, as I moved here like 10 years ago to the United States, and I was in my 20s. So it's like I moved while I'm not in a high school and not in a college yet, and I moved without knowing like any English at all. So for me, I just kind of was like thrown into this American society and stuff. Someone told me that it takes you up to like 3 years to at least like not to hate your everyday just going around, not being able to speak English and just feeling that you don't belong here and stuff. And that's actually true. Like after 3 years, first I learned some language and I start understanding like local like community, like people here more. So what I observed, for example, let me just tell a couple of observations. The first thing is we like as Eastern European, we always need to look into history. We like have this really collectivistic mindset. So that's why one thing which is like I missed a lot not having in the United States, it's like when you go from work or from school or just walking on a weekend, you can just call your friend and ask like, hey Misha, can I stop by like to drink some tea, or can we just go like I don't know like walk around, and like people were like really like this interaction between people just stopping by, seeing your friends. You do not need to schedule seeing someone like in 2 weeks in advance. So that's why like, and one of like my personal opinion why where it comes from, because it's kind of tough to live in Eastern Europe, like because there's a lot of things which is going on right now. So that's why like one of the solutions that people try kind of to be together, and through this kind of having this personal relationship with people, it's what makes us to survive. Because when you have mom who makes like $200 or $300 per like months, and like you want to buy stuff which costs like super expensive, yeah, like there's no other way how to survive in this sort of country. So we all remember this stuff. But in the United States, it's more like individualistic mindset. So it's like, because we have like socialism, let's say, versus capitalism. So people here are more like self-drive, self-focused. So that's why when we saying like if Ukrainian or American similar, in some sense yes, but in another sense no. We're similar as a human being, but our like culture background, the way how we see the world are completely different. But still, one of the way how you said like to make people fall in love with Eastern Europe, to fall in love with Ukraine, what I observed, instead of just to approach the person and start talking about them, blah blah blah, like history, like how like we always watch this Tucker Carlson interview with Putin, and Putin start like 30 minutes talking about history. Even if you talk to someone from other culture, from different background, from completely different worldview, the best way to communicate something is communicate from the personal story. So that's why instead of like them telling, I don't know, the entire history of Ukraine, sometimes it's just enough to tell a story about like one family, one soldier, and that's what make them feel as a human. That will make them feel as they're connected to us, and that's how you can kind of, that's how you can make even like small change. You like you will gonna put poster outside, and if one person is going to stop by and look at the poster and just read it, or the best is going to be like if they're going to scan QR code or follow the Instagram or watch the stream, this is already like worth it. So like the overall idea is, yeah, we're different, but there's always way to connect.
That is so interesting. What is the main similarity? I mean, how to find the same language, like the easiest way?
Fight for freedom. That's what I observed. A lot of Americans, what they understand, especially the people who went through major like wars, like Vietnam War, not like they personally went, but they remember through their lifetime, like Iraq and all the stuff. And here's like this thing about the United States is about like personal freedom and freedom as a country. That's kind of, yeah, that's like one thing that I do really like and enjoy about the United States. So that's why like one of the approach to communicate and to tell people here, like in the West, that hey guys, Ukrainians right now they're fighting not only for their freedom, they're fighting for freedom for all you all. Because yes, imagine that we have all of those like one side of all those tyrannies and people who literally like always how to say like surveillance their people and have like no freedom of choice. The artists cannot express themselves. Like all like everyone left, for example, all those countries because they were going to get persecuted for small, simple like post or photo, video, or any some sort of even writing book or painting. So that's why you have like how in Ukrainian land right now, like not only the destiny of Ukraine is happening, it's also the destiny of the entire geopolitics of everything. That's why it's really important, like kind of to communicate to the people, hey guys, if Ukraine is not going to fail, but if something is going to go bad, it's going to be an example for all other countries which are not Russia, that they can go and do the same, and that's kind of create the chaos precedent. So that's why like it's really important like to pick this kind of fighting for freedom point of view and try to communicate to Americans, to the West, hey guys, this is like fight for freedom. So give us opportunities to do that, please.
Yeah, that is interesting. One thing, I wanted to ask you. Here, for example, it's really interesting. Like in Germany, I don't know, but in the Netherlands, it was like that. We wanted to buy some stuff, like Ukrainian flag, Ukrainian like food, in a Ukrainian store, and there were not many store around. Like in the Polish stores, there are not much Ukrainian things. And my friend Mo told me, "Listen, let's go to the Russian store and buy something there, like Ukrainian flag." I'm like, "You sure?" And he's like, yeah, like our local Russians support Ukraine. They don't support Putin. Which was like a discovery to me, you know. How's the
Yeah.
situation there in your area? Do a lot of Russians support Ukraine, or they support Putin, you know, even though they live in the United States?
Yeah, again, so from my personal experience, every Russian who I met here and who I've interacted, again, like it's because probably I even support, but I personally never experienced. I always wanted to find someone like kind of, you know, because especially when all this happening, but no one openly expressed towards me, at least, or like in my circle of open support of Russia and stuff. But everyone who is here and have like Russian roots, um, there some people actually like engaging actively and volunteering and helping us. I know, okay, so like one example, which is incredible story. I know one group who was led by the wife of one of the Russian professor in Berkeley, and what they did, they run a nonprofit who helped to guide Ukrainians who got kidnapped to Russia, to evacuate them from Russia. They were like creating the plan, which car to take, where to go. They were preparing the documents. They were paying for the hotel, and they like Russians. So I saw a lot of like support, at least people who cared, because yeah, I think sometimes it's like, how does it feel that to be a citizen of the country who's literally like committing genocide right now, and so that's why like this is really like sensitive topic for Ukrainians, and like at least yeah, there's you know like everyone knows that, but at least my point of view, if people are, genuinely want to help, and like all help is needed at this point. So it doesn't matter like what is your background, because like we're fighting that big evil, and we just need to use whatever resources we have.
Yeah, I agree on that. And I also thought about it, like how would I feel if I was like born in Russia, for example, you know? Would I support Putin or would I not support Putin? But generally, I think if you live in a democratic country, wherever you're coming from, you still have to have like a different view, at least.
Yeah, some
Again,
people especially, they left like 10, 20 years ago from Russia, so they don't even think about themselves as kind of Russians anymore and stuff. There's also like there's a lot of like Eastern European professors on UC Berkeley campus who, as their like personal things, they just try to go around their day and do something. So, for example, some people give like open lectures, and other people like just like talk to students or help them like to organize. For example, like some professor helped us with the Borsch Club and stuff. Yeah, overall, it's we are on the other side of the barricade, so they will never understand us, and they will never understand them. But at the same times, there's some sort of like things that we can find as a like common language or whatever, and like yeah, so that's my personal opinion.
yeah, one thing that we can find is you know something that brings us to one side of barricade is when Russians realize that they can fight. For example, there's one of the biggest problems in Russia nowadays is that they are not ready. They don't want to. You know. At the same time, there's so many brave people fighting in like Siberian battalion of the armed forces of Ukraine,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
you know Legion Freedom for Russia. Those guys, like they have my respect because they have balls, and they understand that they can fight against the Russian regime properly with weapons. And even though you have to sacrifice
there's
something,
also yeah.
yeah, but freedom is not free. And also, like, you know, they're different. Even speaking from my experience, there are Russians that I saw, for example, in Germany, they're completely nuts. And they
Yeah,
and they're
okay. Interesting, interesting.
like they're Nazi. Like literally, the dude goes, "Black man must live in Africa. You know, white man must live in Europe. European like shit crazy." And he's like in Berlin. you know. Then there is, for example, Dr. Mike on YouTube. He has, I believe, more than 1 million subscribers, and he goes, I came from Russia when I was a teenager, and I support Ukraine. I collect, funds to help Ukrainian civilians. I'm like, oh my God, what a great guy, you know. So they're so different, but at the same time, like, they don't understand a lot of things, again, because they never imagined themselves being us. Because Russians generally think that all Ukrainians are dying to be their brothers. Fuck that. Like, we
No,
were
no.
fed up with this shit for 70 years. And every single time when you're like walking somewhere, or like when you're somewhere, and then there's this Russian dude running to you and screaming like, "Let's make a selfie together." You only want to punch him, like, literally, because, like,
Yeah.
one thing that they should understand is, before speaking to you as a Ukrainian, they should say magic words, which is, "I am so sorry about what my country does to your country." And this is how you,
Yeah.
yeah, this is how you properly start conversations, so we would identify you as a proper human being, right? Because otherwise, it just doesn't work. Like, that's just my personal opinion. I don't know.
Yeah, one of the things which is interesting, which I actually did before the war started. Since I was in the United States, I went. Oh no, I'm lying. I did this after because this was kind of main motivation. So one of the things that we did as a group of students, pre-Borsch, it's like Berkeley with Ukraine, we tried not only educate people outside, but also we tried to educate us. So I organized just locally for us, like, oh, let's meet weekly. Someone is going to read something about Ukraine or history of Ukraine or whatever, and just present and tell like what you have learned. And one of my topic was I read about Ukraine, the first Ukraine as a kind of government in 20th century from 1917 to 1921. And what was interesting, because we all had this kind of idea in mind, at least I remember being brainwashed that Kharkiv was the first capital of Ukraine, blah, 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 and all of this like other stuff. But when you go into those history time and read what was happening during like 1917, 1921, it's actually word for word what is happening right now. So Russia also organized this kind of DNR, LNR, but the first republic was actually organized in Kharkiv National Republic and stuff. So that's why I strongly recommend everyone just to go and actually read like history books and try not to listen whatever like crazy man says on like YouTube, but just go and actually kind of experience it yourself. Oh, another thought which I thought randomly. In the end of the day, every dictator at some point dies. So like all those followers and all those like supporters, yeah, guys, what are you going to do after, you know? Because Putin is
Yeah.
not going to live forever, hopefully. Yeah, so that's why we will see how all of the supporters will immediately change probably and say like we will never support and stuff. Yeah, so it's just random
Yeah.
thought which you had.
Could be though. Like, we will see how it
Yeah,
ends.
yeah.
Hopefully, very very soon, of course.
Hopefully, yeah.
We have a question, actually two questions. One question is, oh my God, let me hide this stuff first. So, are all Ukrainians so passionate about food? How do you think?
Yes, even if they say no, but I think like yes, especially uh, about Ukrainians and food. One of the things that every Western friend needs to be introduced to Eastern Europe is just to hang out at our parties, or like hang out like as we like serve food. Because usually when you go to someone party, when you like have dinners and something, it's like one course meal or whatever. But in our, if like for example like New Year's, you're just sitting down at 5, like it's 6 or 7 p.m. and you're just sitting there like for 6 or 7 hours. You have different like course of meals and stuff. So like we genetically were raised to be passionate about food, and especially like when we like when we move outside of Ukraine, we carry this passion with us. So that's why we want like to on our daily basis just even like cook some food or just like get friends together, create the Borsch Club, and just like kind of just make cook borscht together with people who haven't even never cooked it. Yeah, so I feel like since it was kind of it's a cultural thing, like every Ukrainians are so like obsessed with food. Not like obsessed, but I mean like passionate about food.
Do you think it can be related to Holodomor, like this page of our history?
On this, I don't have much knowledge, so I cannot say. I at least I don't know how to connect this right now with Holodomor. I know one of the thing which, if you will look into Ukrainian history, we always were like between three these major powers, like Russian Empire, like Soviet Union, Russia, like Turkey, and like Ottoman Empire, and like the West. And Ukraine was always was like had waves when people like just of genocide, killing and stuff. So that's why, like, okay, so I don't know like kind of to say like fact, but that's why, for example, like salad became a thing in Ukraine, because when like Muslims were invading our villages, they weren't able to take like pigs because it was like against their religion and stuff. So that's why, if you can give me a couple of hints, how is, for example, in your mind, you connect like Holodomor and
Yeah, I will explain it. And speaking about pork, by the way, the story I just mentioned, I also heard this story from like another man who told me that, like I also checked the sources, by the way, when Ukraine was occupied by the Ottoman Empire. So Ukrainians had to give out their cattle to feed the Ottoman army, the Turkish army. And because Ukrainians were cunning, actually, like we always are, we would grow pigs. And generally, like for Ukrainian family, you need like in Ukraine we had like 10 kids in a family, 13 kids, you know.
Yeah.
And of course you need to feed them all. If you give out your cattle to a foreign army, of course it's not really good. That's why Ukrainians started growing pigs, and generally pig turned into our like traditional, I don't know, like traditional pet, traditional enemy, my god, animal, not sure how to call it. Speaking of Holodomor, generally I think it's related as well because, you know, we have this habit not to throw out bread, generally we like good food because it's something, I would say, psychological, you know. Like we value food much more, I would say, than anybody else because Ukraine as a nation went through those hard times when we had nothing to eat, when we had to like sacrifice our lives in order to feed our family, our kids. And that is why we value food much more than anybody else, because we went through this. Like it was really hard. So I believe that it's also related to this because, you know, I've been to this museum of Holodomor in Kiev, and this is the trauma that we still carry in our blood, in our genetical memories about, you know, those years of starvation. That is why Ukrainians are not only passionate about food. That is why to us this is something like really, really important, historically, I would say, and genetically. Probably that's the reason.
Yeah, so one of the thing actually it reminded me, and I had this conversation regarding this topic a couple of times actually. My grandpa, he was a kid during World War II. He was like around like 3 or 4, I don't remember. And he lived like in a rural, like small village, and they didn't have almost any food there. So that's why he was telling me the stories how he was going in like kanyushnya, it's like the horses, and they're using the stones to kill like воробьи and голубей, just to some sort of make some sort of голубцы and stuff. So the food was like really like there was sparse on food and stuff. So that's why me as a growing up, I noticed how not like how he's passionate about, especially bread and food overall. He's like every morning, every day, he needs to buy a really good булочка just right from the bakery, and like he's gonna eat like. So we make all these jokes like "Дедушка Леша и хлебушек." And so like and one time I actually had a conversation. I don't remember either with my mom or with someone else, and they pointed out to me that's probably he didn't eat much and didn't have chance to eat bread as a kid or teenager. So that's why when he's grow up, he kind of got kind of, let's say, he has really bad memories and kind of got damaged. So that's why he got this access, and doesn't matter how much he's gonna eat and how much he's gonna exposed, it's still some sort of, it's kind of healing this kind of child trauma, but it never can be healed in some sense. So that's, yeah, that's a really interesting point. I never thought about that. So thank you for, yeah, telling me this.
Yeah, here I asked in the chat what's the people's favorite food, and we have like bacon and eggs. That is generally American stuff, I think. We have, oh my god, like dishes that it's really really hard to pronounce. DJ Mackel says JD Mackel, I'm close to Philadelphia, so I'll go with cheese steaks. Cheese steaks? What is cheese steaks?
Cheesesteaks, I have no idea. We need to go to Philadelphia and check it out.
I think so. Tippling. Tippling? No idea what was that. Anyways, and also we have a comment from Caitlin T, which is addressed directly to you. I'm not even sure how to read it. So, question for Max regarding the MDR equals VDR problem. Have you thought of using flag varieties? I don't know if it would prove the conjecture, but it might yield a partial result.
Okay, that's really interesting. MDR, VDR, flag conjectures. Yeah, you have my personal contact information, I guess, somewhere down the description. So send me the email, and I would love to talk about flag varieties. It's actually cool math stuff. I don't want like kind of to, yeah, it's just one of the math things which is kind of blow mind. And but now I'm actually thinking about some other things. I'm thinking about tensors. Okay, I will talk for a second. So one of the amazing things about mathematics stuff overall, which when you combine kind of math and like really like super abstract math, like the concept that we can just go outside there, collect some data, then we can run this like super complicated algorithms. And one of the way how we can collect data, we can put into different forms. You can put as a vector, as a matrix, as a tensor. And when you're going to go and run different algorithms with this data, you can explore and discover that there are some patterns in there. And like as we discussed right before this stream, and that's how like neural networks works. That's like you just collect all this huge big data, run these algorithms. It's during this run, the data is getting compressed, and you're just exploring like the symmetries and the beauty, and you're able like kind of to extrapolate some kind of cool stuff out of it. Yeah. So okay, sorry, I'm just got excited about math. But anyway, so yeah, I would love to talk about flag varieties. It's like one of the really cool mathematical objects. It's basically a line inside the plane inside the space, and you look in the configuration of those things. Anyway, sorry.
I will pretend I understood everything. Yeah, we have a comment from Michelle, who says, I think people who have gone without food and watched starvation cherish food differently. Yeah, that is exactly what we're talking about. Cheryl asks, is it normal for Ukrainians to ask, did you eat today? First thing, like in the morning. You know?
This kind of yes, it's like this one of the oldest jokes about going to grandma's or grandma's calling you. The first things that will ask you, did you eat today yet and stuff. So yeah, it's pretty common. And especially now it's regarding the topic which you said about Holodomor and food. Now I remember, and I probably understand even better why my grandma also was so, how to say, like insisting of me like eating all the time and being exposed like to the food and just, yeah, so that makes a lot of sense right now. It's really interesting. Yeah.
Oh my god. How to make Americans and Ukrainians closer? Let's talk about, such global things.
So first thing which I heard and which motivated me, and I think like that everyone can do. Like we always getting annoyed or we don't like when people like pushing some topic like too much and stuff. It's kind of, hey, like all this like ego, like priests who are like going around or people who are trying to sell something to you. This is not the right strategy. It's like when you're sending the long, big long email to someone, no one is going to read it. You need to find the other way kind of to approach. And one of the way to approach is within your friend group as you like just being the representative of Eastern Europe. Rule number one, like do not forget about your roots and just try once in a while expose yourself and once in a while in conversation with your friends. So for example, if you do like volunteering and do like fundraising and stuff, blah blah, take your friends, hey guys, let's go hang out to the bar, but let's before that stop by at this Ukrainian fundraising event. Or like for example, I noticed in my personal experience how people usually didn't care about Ukraine because they just didn't know anything, but they cared about me. So that's why I went and gave a short presentation about like what I have done in Ukraine when I was 6 months in 2022 during the winter. And by me telling my personal story, they got connected into this kind of issue, into this war. And they're like, oh, Max, now we kind of feel we understand. And they actually donated money and helped me. And some of them became volunteers. So I feel like to make it connected, you need to be engaged on a regular basis when you go about your life. Second thing, you don't need to be too pushy about because people don't understand your pain. Because did we care about when Russia was bombing Aleppo in Syria? Let's be honest, like we care about all other issues? No, we didn't care about them. But does it make us bad people? No, we just wasn't connected to it through the personal stories, through other people's experience. So the same way, let's not get angry with other people that they don't care about Ukraine or some other stuff. How can they care about Ukraine if they will, for example, have been living all their life in a small like city or town in some Midwest and then move to the Bay Area and to work as a software engineer and stuff? They like, but the way how you make them care about through you as a person. So that's why we all Ukrainians and people from Eastern Europe, we kind of this small like tentacles of our culture who is like here, just hanging out, doing our stuff. So let's kind of create the new like smaller even tentacles within our friends group. And just let's show people how Eastern Europe is cool. Like take people to Georgian restaurant. They will fall in love. They will like, let's go again and stuff. Yeah. So just by showing the good sides of the things and sometimes reminding that through what we go right now, I feel like at least it's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to do my own stuff, but at the same time push a little bit like my roots to inside my friends groups and stuff.
Yeah, I agree on that. And I think that, proper beverage is probably like one of the secret ingredients to developing friendship. What would you advise our viewers to drink if they want to drink something Ukrainian style, but for example, vodka is too mainstream?
Samagonka. But the problem is, like where are you going to get samagonka? I feel like samagonka. How do you translate nalivka?
Oh my god.
I
Liquor?
feel like even though but it's not exactly liquor. It's like you literally take. Is it liquor? Yeah, I think liquor. But it's like homemade liquor and stuff.
Yeah.
But samagonka it's even stronger than vodka. But I don't know like how in your childhood and from your memories and stuff. But my grandpa or grandma, she used to like run actual samagon. So you go to the kitchen and you see all this like apparatus. And for me, I still don't understand how it works. And she was like, I just remember like, and the samagonka was like cup, like small drops, so it's like drop, 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 and you can see this and 100% alcohol, liquid, and stuff. But a couple of Ukrainian places here in Vancouver, they actually sell good like liquor and samagon kind of stuff. So trying to stronger. Yeah, so I think like whenever you go to some like Ukrainian restaurant, just try to ask if they have homemade or at least closer to the homemade, like liquors and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, moonshine.
Moonshine. Yeah, I tried moonshine. Yeah, that was also. I never tried in Ukraine. I tried it here. It was actually pretty cool.
God, I remember the only stuff I tried back in my childhood actually was like 90-degree moonshine that my grandma used to
Oh my
make.
gosh. Yeah.
That was crazy, man. I thought I was gonna like explode. Like I literally I didn't know what it was because my parents were like drinking with my grandpa, and there was literally glass on the table. Oh, I thought I literally drank like liquid fire. It was insane.
This is. I have exactly the same, but this was like a friend of mine brought homemade samagon from New York, and they said like, oh, it's like 75%, and then drink like 75% alcohol before. So I remember more or less it was like it was strong, but it was like smooth a little bit, but not homemade. When I tried this homemade, like it's exactly how you described. First of all, while it's inside, like getting kind of inside you, you feel just kind of the breath of dragon fire. It's impossible to describe. And while you're drinking it, you cannot kind of stop. You cannot like so you just need to continue. But the time when you're going to finish drinking, you're already drunk because it just
Yeah.
hits you like so fast. But that's kind of cool experience. I remember it. So yeah.
And also another strange thing about moonshine is that it evaporates like through your skin, through like you
Yeah.
start smelling like it.
Oh, one thing. Have you ever tried to actually make alcohol yourself?
I did not like literally. I'm not a big fan of it. I used to drink years ago, probably
Okay.
like even before the war. Currently, you will be laughing, but I became a fan of alcohol-free beer, like.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, but it's just so good here because, like König Pilsner and Kronbacher, they make extremely nice beer. I was never a fan of a beer, but I realized that it's just so good. Is there good beer in the United States, by the way?
So again, I'm telling you from my personal experience, and I'm not that much of the beer guy, but there is one type of beer which I used to hate, and I tried for the first time. And actually, a lot of things in the United States which I tried for the first time, let's let's say I didn't like it. But the more you're trying it, the more you kind of you're getting into the taste of whatever. And for me right now, my favorite beer is IPA. So whenever I'm going go to the bar and stuff, because all other beers, I don't know, like it's just either light or yeah. I just really like the taste of IPA right now. I don't know what happened. I used to not to like it at all, but right now like it's yeah. Other people don't like it, but it's, okay, I have no idea. So my personal like, I really like IPA. I think.
Did you ever try something like Guinness, for example, like the dark beer?
Yeah, I try Guinness. I also like it and stuff. Um, One of the things, as you said, whenever you go to the restaurant, you buying the same stuff, not to like kind of disappoint. And say for me, it was really easy. Like when I go to the bar, when I'm ordering something, I'm just telling like, give me IPA, and when they ask like, give me like the kind of the strongest one or whatever. But I one time I went to this bar here in the United States, and they were like super pretentious about like super like specific about beers. So they were like kind of putting me like under the light. Like they were like specifically asking which IPA do I want, what type, and blah blah. So like, can you just please give me IPA? That's it and stuff. Yeah. So, but so one thing which I like about our own life is just to try, even if you haven't tried before, try things at least once. So that's why I really like to go to the bars and just try like different samples of the beer, of really like interesting and different. Chocolate beer really is. I don't remember the name of it, but beer with a taste of chocolate was pretty cool.
Hard to imagine. We
Yeah.
have commentary from Rob. He says, I have 10 liters of plum vodka that will be ready for Christmas. Been turning the jars weekly for a year now. It has not been easy to resist opening one just to test if you understand. Rob, of course we
Yeah.
understand.
Yeah.
My God. We have commentary from Storm. I'm still looking for a beer that doesn't have that bitter taste to it. I think that is the thing about beer, like the bitter taste, because it should not be like too bitter, but it should be like properly bitter. It must have taste. Because I don't know, I tried Guinness. Maybe I didn't understand it much. I tried Kilkenny, which was good. Guinness, I don't really understand. I like drinking beer, not like eating beer. That is the question. Also, we have a message from Caitlin T. He says, I will email you, dude. So, my friends, you can check out the description to this video. There is 2 links to Berkeley Borsch Club and Berkeley with Ukraine. Please check them out, and I think you will be able to contact Max as well. Max, do you know this thing that is extremely popular in Ukraine, and it is called Pian vishnya?
Oh, of course. This is a really dangerous place. This is probably one of the things. If you're in Poland, if you for some reason cannot go to Ukraine, in Krakow, they have like they have like Piano Vishnya, actual Piano Vishnya open. So that's why you need to go and try it out.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so good, and this is something that actually tastes really nice with anything. It tastes nice on itself. It tastes nice with, like Coca-Cola. You will have an analog of like Dr. Pepper only with alcohol, and you will get wasted in no time.
No, but it's really dangerous because it's like if you drink it as a juice, it doesn't like even feel like, and I don't know like if it's a common thing, but for me, your main enemy while in Piana Vishnya is like the berries itself, because I feel like I always getting like so just out. It's like it's kind of hitting me after I eat the berries because they're on the bottom and then you just eat them and you just drinking. It doesn't feel like that you're getting drunk or whatever. But then you wake up next morning, you have a huge headache because you didn't drink any water, and then you try to remember how much did you drink, but because you're just standing there talking to people, you're having fun, and then like apparently you drink like a half of liter, and that's like a half of liter of alcohol, and you're like, dude, yeah. So that's why we have all of these crazy stories that, yeah, to go to Piano Vish, you need to be ready that next day. You need to just relax.
Absolutely. Well, go ahead, says Operator Starsky. In Finland, my grandparents always during dinner want you to have more and more until you almost explode. Is it the same in Ukraine?
Hell yeah. It's like we all know, we have this joke, how it's called, like transfer 20. It means that if you transfer from community college to university somewhere in the United States, you always gain like 20 pounds or something like that. And also in other fields. And also we can say like grandma 10, whatever. Whenever you go to grandma for a weekend or just, I used to spend all my summer with grandma in dacha, helping her and stuff. And I wasn't like, okay, so I was a kid, and so I wasn't getting that much weight. But if I will go there, with the amount of food which I was consuming, and you can consume it all the time. It's like this amazing feeling, like you open the fridge and there's always food there, and all these dinners, and just grandma just putting food inside you and stuff. So yeah, this is like amazing memories.
Yeah, I told my viewers the other day that it's like when you go to grandma, no matter if you look like extremely overweight, she will always be like, "Oh, look at you, you are so thin," and then she starts just stuffing you with everything she has, which, by the way, tastes like extremely good, like all those jams. Did you ever try onion jam?
Okay, I smelled it and smelled probably. Okay, here I said like you always need to try everything, but I didn't like try it. So you're saying like it's worth trying?
Bro, it's like when you feel sick, your grandma takes like piece of bread, she puts butter on it, and then she takes this secret jar of onion jam. It's
I never experienced.
concentrated onion with like honey, and it's literally onion that tastes sweet and hot, spicy. And then she puts like this thick layer of this jam on the bread. She makes you eat it whole, and then you go to bed, and then you wake up completely like healthy. So this is something that you should need to try, and also
I want to try it.
yeah, also there is this thing called rose jam. So basically it's like jam made out of roses. It's again, it's
Wow,
some special kung fu that only grandmas know. And my grandma also used to give me this jam when I was sick. I was sick every single time I visited my grandma for like unknown reason. It's because it's like kreverich, you know. And in Kryvyi they had a lot of like those open mines, and the air was full of different stuff. So I had like I had shit called allergic asthma. It's when it's when you have allergy, you have like it's crazy. But
that's crazy.
experience was just so good. That is when I started enjoying like the smell of moonshine, because grandma takes like this big leaf. My God, I don't know even how it's called in English. This lapuch, you know, and she puts like honey on it, and she rubs you with like this moonshine, and then she sticks this big leaf with honey on your back,
Yeah,
and it sucks so bad, like you just want to run away and hide. But then in the morning you wake up completely healthy, and yeah, it just works like that. Bro, we are approaching 1 hour 30 minutes. I think it would be good to let our people go. Is there anything you would like to tell our viewers so far?
just thing is which I learned from this in the last, let's say, 2 years. When the war started, as I said, like I took 1 year off, and I was like considering should I continue my PhD or not. But I realized that I really like math and stuff, so I decided like to come back, and I finished like my PhD. Then within a year, I changed my direction. I was like, kind of this war. What it taught me is like, okay, so after I've been to Kiev, I've been to Kharkiv, and it's impossible to describe when a shell is like blowing up next to you. It wasn't like, yeah, I was just waking up in the morning because my house was shaking, and I heard like 4 or 5 like explosions and stuff, and the same like in Dnipro. So like this kind of feeling of being bombed is impossible like kind of to describe to anyone. And I'm like that I experienced the lightest version. I cannot even think and imagine what people are going through. One of the most hardest and difficult experience for me was, since I was doing this nonprofit work on the ground, I went to shelters with refugees from small villages, and I talked to them, took some interviews, and the stories which they tell, it's like you will not hear the stories on YouTube or like it's like real life. The people, like I can tell just one. It's like one woman, she left her grandma and she regretted it, so she decided to come back. And but while she was back, the rocket just hit the building and grandma died in front of her eyes and stuff. And she's telling me this and crying, having like no documents to even to get some money to get some government support. They need to have the passport, but to have the passport, basically she's like stuck in this bureaucracy cycle, and her old stuff got destroyed, and she's just sitting there. And what I can do, so we provide like with some food and some stuff and blah blah, but it's like, and for me it was, I spent there like 3 days, And my the only thought was, oh my gosh, it's like I just spent all these 3 days and I just feel like my soul was just completely like destroyed because it's just so hard. But I can leave, but those people cannot leave and stuff. So basically, what I'm trying to say, going through all these experiences, like it kind of pushes you as a human being, like not to be afraid to do what you like to do. So what it means, that's why like you said like about keeping motivated, or because I see how whatever we can just dedicate a small amount of time through our week. We just need to find the right way, but we can go and make an impact on the people. You can do some sort of job, you can work on some sort of project, but you don't really like this project, you're afraid to change it. That's why kind of work kind of taught me that don't be afraid, just whatever you want to do, whatever you're passionate about, just go and do it. And okay, so it requires hard work. Also, it's not like you change it and you do nothing. No, you need to have the plan, you have the strategy, you need to talk to people. So right now, like I'm super, like I'd say, like feel lucky and happy that I able like to do this math, be kind of excited like about this research, but at the same time have time to actually go and engage in this volunteering work. There's a new one of the like modern philosophy. I forgot the name of the philosopher, but it's about altruism. It's like one of the must thing to do for everyone is to put some sort of your time or whatever just to do altruism by default. That's how we, as a human being, as a people, will make this world better. It's on a small level. Just be nice to people. Yeah, we all like have our shit and life is hard and we all have our like I don't know. Yeah, but at the same time, let's sometimes just stop, look around, and just try to do something good. Yeah, so that's what I want to say. Just through this story, through our like this talk, and the things that we do, just try to go and express yourself more and be more yourself and not to be afraid. And hopefully, by doing those things, you can go and motivate someone else to do the same. And we're gonna create this sort of this chain reaction when people, because I got inspired by talking and looking at other people work. So that's why, and this is like it feels really awesome when you actually go and do stuff. When you like build your small project or work on your small things and you see the results of how it's affecting other people. Yeah, so just like let's say, don't be afraid. So I would just want to say to viewers, just if you're passionate about something, go and push it.
Thank you so much, my friend. Dear friends, don't be afraid to do what you like. Don't be afraid to fight. Don't be afraid to be decent. And most of all, don't be afraid to stand for Ukraine, because this is the proper thing to do. Max Zubkov was my guest today. Thank you so much again for your incredible experience and for what you're doing there. Thanks to all of the guys in the Berkeley Borsch Club. You are amazing. And
you.
my dear friends, we will see you next time. As always, be safe and goodbye.